Hey, yo, what up? This is Meek J, and I'm rocking with Mikey T, the movie star, and we live on Report Card Radio.
So, Mick J, I want to talk to you about your association with Max B. Can you tell me how you helped with Max B's appeal?
Well, what happened is, like, before Max B or French Montana or, the whole circle that was around, because it was Max B, French Montana, Mike Shorey, Young Los, all those guys was in the studio. We all used to go to the studio with Damon Grease in Sawmill, New York, off at Exit 21 at Damon Grease Studio. I've been around Damon Grease, Vacant Lot Records years before that happened. Me and Baby Madison, which was one of the hottest Vacant Lot rappers that Vacant Lot had, Damon Grease had. Me and Baby Madison was good friends. We hung out all the time, and unfortunately he passed away. He had an untimely demise. And actually, when he got killed, not to go off the topic, but when he got killed, I was holding him down in the Bronx, and I seen the guy he had beef with, because I went to his projects with him, and I seen the guy. He showed me who the guy was that he had beef with, and then life go me moving and working, and I strayed away from him for like a couple of months, and then that same guy that he showed me was the same guy that took his life. But me and Dane Grease go back that far. Like I go back in the trenches with Dane Grease. This is when 50 Cent first came out with Problem Child, and we were discussing who this new guy 50 Cent with Problem Child. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay, I'm following you.
Working, we've been at the relationship. Then I got back with Dane Grease. Dane Grease was working with French Montana. He was working with Max B, and I walked into the circle of that. You get what I'm saying? So he was producing this stuff, and Young Los also working on production as well. You get what I'm saying? I actually took on a management position for Dane Grease, taking him up to Def Jams, sitting with Lenny S, making meetings happen for that whole movement, the Blanket Jackson with the auto tune and all that. I was the manager of all that. I was setting the meetings up at Def Jams. We was at the round table in Def Jam. I did all that kind of work for the team. With French Montana, but he was still kind of working with Akon and all that. And I was very good friends with Bruce Carbone and Sal at Universal. I was in there pitching for French Montana. You get what I'm saying? So I was more on the business end and also bringing production to the table with that. So with being in that circle, the Max B situation came about with, me being there. We all in the same room. We grinding. We niggas sleeping on the floor, sharing Chinese food and all that. Joe Lee was the manager of Max B at that time. And he was in the middle of that case around the time we were all in this situation with Damon Grease, because Damon Grease was the foundation of it all. So I'm going to give props to Damon Grease, because that's not talked about a lot. Damon Grease produced his Dog Taylor's High DMX album. He produced that album. You know what I'm saying? He was the producer behind this Max B and French Montana thing. So major shout outs to Dane Grease, because he was the vision and brains and sound behind that project. You know what I'm saying? Behind those guys. And he gave guys a covenant and a home to rest up and make the best music in the world. So, but when that time happened, with us all being involved in that, Max B was going through his case, and, he got the 75 years. I was there when he was going through the trial, when he went and got sentenced, and when he called back into Dane Grease studio on the phone. I got to say about Max B. Max B, when he got them 75 years, when he called back and he went to jail, he went in, when he called back into the studio and French Montana had him on the microphone inside the studio, he was talking to us, it sounded like he got 2 weeks, 75 hours. He was the strongest dude I ever, anybody who gets 75 years, you think they'll go in the depression mode that's out of this world and fall apart. He was the strongest dude I ever seen. He was laughing, joking. He was strong. He believed that he would come home. You know what I'm saying? So, but even before that, right before he went in, how the appeal bell came together was that I heard about the case. And I have brought my guy Shannon, he's from Brooklyn, to Dane Grease studio. So they was in the studio talking about the case. Now my guy Shannon from Brooklyn, he did 17 years locked up upstate, and he was locked up with Mano. So I brought him as a guest with me because he just came home for doing 17 years. Come with me to the studio, rock out with me. And when they was talking about Max B case, my boy Shannon from Brooklyn was the one that, when we left the studio that night and got home, he said to me, "Yo, man, I could put a pill bill together. I know how to beat that kind of case that they talking about with Max B." So what I did, I motivated him. Look, put all that stuff together. You put the CP10, the CP11, how to knock the stool, a leg off the stool to make the case go wrong and make the case give him the potential to make it home. Because if two people are going against Max B in the case, if their stories are not adding up what they're saying about him, then he can lock one of the legs off the stool, which is the CP10, CP11, CP12. He could come home. So what I did was, my guy Shannon, I sat with him. We put all that shit down on newspaper. I brought it back to the studio and said, "Here's your appeal bill. This is how you can get out of jail. Let's take this to your attorney." And that's when the conversation of the appeal bill came together. So when he got locked up, when Max B went to jail, when he went to jail and he got to 75 years, he made a phone call to me. And I had Stan Posey that was helping with cheaper sounds. Let's try to help Max B with this case. So he called me home. He called me, and he asked me to go pick up his case. So me and Jolie called me and said, "Look, can you take me to Newark to where his attorney was, 60 Park Place, and pick up the case?" So we went and I took her to pick up the case with the CDs and all that inside the Tupperware. We drove it down to Bergen County, you know what I'm saying? Gave it to the officials that needed it there. And then, I was helping with the case at that point, but then somewhere along the lines, after we did all that, we stopped by his baby mother house in Jersey. I can't say the location, but we went, after we took care of all his business, we chilled at his baby mom's house in Jersey. That's what got the appeal bell thing going on. You know what I mean? I got with my guy Shannon. I brought him to the studio as a guest, and then from there, he envisioned the appeal bell. I stayed consistent with my guy. We got all that shit done, and I led the surge of putting that appeal bell together and getting it going. And then it became a household name. Max B going to try to come home on an appeal bell.
So Meek J, I got to ask you, man. There was a lot of rumors going on recently that they were saying Max B was snitching while he was in the courthouse. Did you ever hear anything about that back in the day when you was working with him?
I never heard nothing like that about Max B. And the one thing I want to say about Max B, in the short time I spent around him and his brother Damien, them some serious guys. They ain't nothing to be with. Those guys don't play. They really street dudes for real. Get what I'm saying? So like that was not in the demeanor of a Max B that I met. Cause I've been in his house and everything in Yonkers on a dead end street. You got to walk through the back of the house and come through the back to get in the studio. And I've been all in his. I have meetings in Max B's house. You know what I'm saying? I had held meetings of my own in Max B's house. You know what I'm saying? So that does not fit his description. That's all bullshit. See, what that is that let's put this on his name now because he coming home with that wave. So how you try to destroy something great about the sport to be monumental when he touched down? You try to dampen it with the snitch stuff. And it's getting repetitive and sickening to me because all these dudes keep talking snitch. Shut the fuck up with that bullshit. It's just too much of that bullshit going on. Max B is not a snitch at all. He's a gangster. And if everybody can't see that man took that 75 years on the chin and holding it down, then, they blind.
Yeah, real talk, man. There's a lot of people coming out right now with old information, talking this and that about it. Max B has been sitting in jail for 12 years. I don't think any snitch would actually be sitting in jail for 12 years in this case.
They scared. They know who he is. They know what he's capable of doing. You get what I'm saying? So they got to try to do something to stop what's about to happen. And, I look at it as a good thing because at least you get to see who's who and what